you got?
Masvita.
Hey, Pete, I was just wondering regarding the 49ers defense, if you could talk about what Fred Warner does for that defense.
He's a great player. He's the leader, it seems, and he's everywhere in the run and the passing game. He's a really good blitzer. He makes big plays. You know, he comes through. But he's a really good football player, and I think they got about everything you could hope for in their middle linebacker.
Jen?
Ugo mentioned earlier in the year that during the offseason, he worked with a number of wide receivers. He also mentioned George Kittle in particular. I'm wondering how you've seen Ugo adapt to different guys that he's had to cover this year.
Yeah, he's been matching up well, and you know, he really knows how we're playing the different coverages and the techniques and stuff, so that he mixes his looks really well. He's hard to figure out. He's a good disguiser in terms of pressuring and all of that. He's not had trouble with the taller guys or the smaller guys, so he's doing good. And he's just has banked on his experience, and he's learned a lot in a short time.
Corbin?
Hey, Pete, it seems like nobody's benefited more from Carlos Dunlap's arrival than Jaron Reed. He's had 24 pressures the last 7 games, 12 quarterback hits. How specifically does having that premier proven edge guy help a rusher from the 3-tech, 1-tech role? And what have you seen specifically from Reed the last few games that's allowed him to have the success?
Well, I think in about a 7-game span, it can get you a chance to get maybe 22, 23, 24 pressures, you know. I think it's it totally, yeah, thanks. It totally helps him, you know. I mean, just the factor of the push just makes the spacing more available, you know, and makes the quarterback have to move a little bit more, and all of those things help the other guys. And so he's been a big factor, and it's not just, you know, just the rushes that he brings. It's really the difference, the breakdown of the pocket for the other guys. And Jay Reed has had a really good run from that, and that's a lot of the responsibility could be put back on what Carlos is bringing.
I was also wondering if you could provide an update on Marquis Blair. It's been a few months now since his injury. What's it looking like for him potentially being back for the offseason program?
Yeah, I haven't seen him in about 10 days now, but his spirits are good. He's working really hard. He's doing great. He's doing great on his recovery, and there's not going to be any problems with him getting back as far as everything I've heard. His spirit, the thing I like about it is his spirit is really positive and upbeat about returning, so he's working real hard at it. Thanks for asking.
Matt?
Hey, Pete, I feel like guys like Jamal Adams, Carlos Dunlap have kind of taken over the headlines defensively over the past few weeks, but Bobby Wagner, once again, putting together a Pro Bowl season, leading the team in tackles. I'm just wondering what you can say about his consistency and his contributions this year.
Yeah, I think Bobby's done a great job of being in the center of it and keeping everybody's heads in line and really helping us, you know, set the kind of the style of play and the tempo of learning and practice and all. Bobby's such a great practice player and so intent on doing everything right that he just sends a great message because he is the voice of the group. So as you know, guys have come and gone, and then they've come back to us. You know, he and KJ really in Diggsy, they've really been the steadies, you know, keeping everything connected. So Bobby's a great football player, and he continues to have, you know, huge impact, and you know, his numbers just haven't dropped off at all, and he continues to be such a big factor for us in so many ways other than just the tackles that he makes.
Bob?
Yeah, Pete, what is it about DJ Reed that's allowed him to make the transition to playing on the outside as well as he have? It seemed like most of his experience maybe coming to you guys was more inside and safety and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's got great awareness. He's got great quickness. I mean, he's got, you know, world-class quick feet, and you put that with the awareness and the savvy that he has. He can get to places. He can stick to guys. He's got a knack for making plays. He's got a you know, really good hand-eye coordination and the timing on the ball and all that. So he makes himself available for playmaking. So he's got a lot of great attributes. He's just a different package guy than we've had, you know. But he's a ball player, and I mean, all of us have seen it. We've seen it in the kick returns. We've seen everything that he's done in special teams and all of that. He just makes good decisions and good choices. He gets it. He's really bright, and you know, so he's all of those are just, you know, you check all the boxes there.
And is there still any chance Philip Dorsett coming back at all, or any update on him?
I don't think Philip's going to make it. I hate to cut him out of. If we were fortunate to be playing a month from now, but he's working hard. I saw him working again today in the weight room. He's busting it. He's doing a lot of good stuff, but it's going to be a haul for him to make it back.
Joe?
Back to DJ Reed. No front office is ever going to hit or bat 1,000, whether it's draft picks, free agents, whatever. But with that, how important is it to get lucky on occasion in something like this, where a guy falls in your lap, but then also, you didn't project him to be an outside corner, and now he's kind of turned into a great option for you. Is that a part of some good fortune along the way that comes with trying to get to a Super Bowl?
If I don't address this, then I'll just have to accept the fact that we're just lucky on this one. I don't think this was luck. I think John knew. John had it, and John and his guys that do the evaluations, they knew that he was a good enough football player to play nickel, safety, or corner. That's what came right in from the first day we were talking about him. So I think the quickness of his transition is what we're really surprised by, how easy it was for him to learn and to jump in. But our guys thought he was going to be a big factor for us, and think about it. We've hit some of these guys, and we've done a nice job of finding guys that can help us in this kind of situation, whether we have to trade for them or claim them. And I think it's way more than luck. I think it's the ability to discern and figure it out and know who's coaching them and the style and all that kind of stuff. And John's put all that together again, in another situation.
Sorry, that might be on me. For some reason, I thought last week or a week ago, you mentioned that you didn't view him as an outside corner when you first got him.
No, but I didn't. John did.
Okay.
That's important. So we work together, and he helps me out sometimes when I make mistakes. And fortunately, he as it started to happen, we saw some opportunities for him to play. We got the conversation going, and I said, sure enough, let's try him. And there was no question that he could factor in. So that was the only problems there were my shortcomings.
Thanks, Pete.
John?
Yeah, Pete, what do you see out of the 49ers? I know obviously this season's been rough on them, but for them to kind of bounce back and play well against a team playing for a playoff game last week against Arizona, what does that tell you about a team when things aren't going well and they can still pull that performance?
This is a championship team. They have all of that in their heart and their background and their experience, their coaching staff, all of that. And for them to withstand all of the challenges that they've had and to hold it, and be able to come back and keep playing football games where they play really good across the board. I mean, that's just a statement of who they are. And, Kyle's done a great job with them, and Robert's done a great job with the defensive side. They're very together, and they're a tough football team regardless of what their record is. And that's deep in the makeup of the players and the coaches and all that. They've got it.
And on a related note, is it kind of strange to be finishing out in Arizona instead of down in Santa Clara?
Yeah, everything's strange. Everything's strange, John. It doesn't really matter where we play these games, because there's nobody there. It doesn't have anything to do with the venue, to us. We're pretty comfortable and familiar with going there, so that's a good thing. It'd be different if we were playing, at Stanford or something like that. But it's just been another unusual issue in a season. We're playing somebody else's stadium, so that's how it goes.
Michael Sean?
Hey, Pete, Robert Saleh is one of the few guys who's left from here and have been able to build an elite defense. Why do you think he's been able to be successful in that way when some of the other guys who have left haven't been able to?
It's an interesting way to put your question. I like that. Well, I don't know that it's that much different than the other guys. I don't know. Maybe it is. But when you have the opportunity to draft like they've been able to draft, in the past few years, you get a chance to accumulate talent, and they've done a great job of drafting, and they have benefited from. I think there was a time when they had like 4 number ones in the front 4, and stuff like that. That's who gets that chance. Washington did. That it makes sense. When those guys show up, man, it makes such a difference. This has been a defense that's been really centered around what the front 4 guys have been able to create, and so Robert's done a great job of putting it together and then taking care of the back end too. They're great against explosive plays. So all of our coaches have tried to do the same thing. I would think all of our guys would be able to benefit from the good drafting, and I think all of our guys can ball coach, and so Robert's done a magnificent job. I'm really fired up for his future and what's coming up, and totally endorse his ability to take on the next level and be a head coach and do it really well. But I did everything I could to avoid answering the question the way you asked me.
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But to DJ Reed, is he, with his size, is he maybe an example of how important like maybe short area quickness becomes in a league where guys are lining up with bunch formations and stuff versus maybe the length and long arm guys that you guys made popular to value?
Well, why'd you bring up short when you're talking about DJ? I don't understand. There's in this game of football, there ain't nothing that replaces quickness. You know, quickness is one of the most important elements in all phases of every position that you play. And when you have, it's like an example is like Doug Baldwin. Doug Baldwin had magnificent quickness and foot change of direction, COD and stuff, and it made him a great player. DJ's got a chance to be an excellent football player over a long haul because he has that special element, and it makes up for so many other things, you know. And so there's one of the things I have to do well is be able to adapt to the different makeups of the players, you know, and what they bring us, and not be short-sighted and closed-minded. You know, we guys can only come in one size and shape and all that. And so this is a good opportunity and illustration of that. You know, way back in the day when I was at the Jets, we drafted Aaron Glenn as a first-round corner, you know, and he was about the same size as DJ is, but there again, you know, there were the special qualities outweighed any of the kind of the categories you'd like to put a guy in. So, but the other part of the question, let's not talk about corners. I think for the other positions, the safeties, the linebackers, the game being more open up and the field being more, you know, more available to the quarterbacks and all, the quickness does make a difference. And you're seeing smaller linebackers play, and the safeties and linebackers they cross over, and at times that's to get the athleticism and the quickness on the field because of the space that we're playing in. In old days, you know, there's a lot of tight formations. Everybody jumping over the pile and it's 3 yards in a cloud of dust. So you needed to be big and strong and stout, and you know, and all that. That's not the game we're playing anymore. And you're right in observing that.
Art?
Pete, we're coming up on Black Monday for NFL coaches, and I'm wondering who or what has informed your decision-making regarding the hiring of assistant coaches as well as the managing of staffs.
Say who or what? Say it again. Who would you say? Who or what? I was distracted by you and Greg wearing your U-boat outfits. You know, I thought maybe you guys were, you know. Where'd you park your U-boat? There you go. I'm sorry. Yeah, we start all over again. That's just me being screwed up. I apologize for that.
That's all right. It's a 15-yard unsportsmanlike.
Yes,
Who or what has informed you about hiring assistant coaches as well as managing staffs during the season? Do you have a couple of prime directives and what governs your decision making?
That's an interesting question. No. No, I don't have anybody other than John and I talk through everything. You know, I mean, we just try to figure stuff out. I don't know where I would go, but I would say this in making decisions. You know, I'm constantly drawn to talking to people that I know real well, who know the people that we're dealing with, and to try to, you know, glean as much information as we can about an individual, makeup, background, history, how they react, what their, you know, their demeanor, you know, their mentality, all that kind of stuff. We try to draw all the information in that we can. So in that regard, you know, I'll use anybody that can help me. And John is the primary guy that I deal with if I was going to lean on somebody, you know. But then there are coaches that I have faith in that, you know, that I know for a long time and really trust, you know, what they know and see. And I'll listen to them carefully as well, you know. So is that what you're getting at, kind of?
Well, I didn't know if anybody in your past, you know, either in the first 2 times in the NFL have influenced you as far as what to look for and what to avoid in coaching.
Yeah, I couldn't even pinpoint it because it's just been such a, you know, a menagerie of people and all that. But really, I think in the years at USC, when I was really in charge of everything and there was nobody else there to even talk to, you know, those 9 years there we had a lot of movement and guys coming and going and all that. And I think I had to generate my own expectations and my own standards to you know, because I only had guys on my staff or friends that I could talk to, so I didn't have anybody in the organization at all. and I would say that I do have some particular people that I lean on, the ones that that I've known over the years that I really can count on, guys that I know really well. Carl Smith would be a guy in particular that, he and I knew a lot of coaches, and we would do our homework on guys, and I always relied on Carl to help out and stuff, and so. Yeah.
Jackie?
Hey, Coach, going back to the 49ers, how valuable is their fullback, Juszczyk, and what does he bring to their offense?
Oh, man, he does everything. He's a great player. He is as meaningful a part of an offense as any player in the NFL. I mean, he just, other than the quarterback position, he has so much that he offers an offense, and he's so good at so many things. I think he's in the Pro Bowl for the 5th or 6th time or something in a row, because he's the only one doing what he does. He's that special. He can play tight end. He can be out of the backfield. He can lead, on all the blocking principles that they have. He can carry the football. He's good in the red zone. He's good in short yardage. He's just a great football player, and I think it's a really great statement that Kyle made when he chose him. Early on, he went out and sought him out and paid him, and knew exactly what he was going to do with him. And boy, they haven't missed a beat. He's really a big-time player.
And then you mentioned the quarterback, C.J. Beathard, expected to start. What do you see on film from him?
He looks very similar to the other quarterbacks as they've played. They get the ball out really fast. They make good, quick decisions. They're good on the perimeter. They don't expose the ball. I mean, he hasn't thrown a pick yet, and big, strong. And when he has a chance to run, he's made yards, So that's kind of like Jimmy and all their guys. They've been pretty much the same, So the offense really functioned well last week, in his big start, and they look really good.
Curtis?
Yeah, Pete, back when you made all your draft picks this spring, you guys focused on getting guys you thought could be ready to play quick, and given all the circumstances of the year and so far. Now that we're here at the end of the regular season and those guys have had a chance to, how do you kind of think that decision's worked out for you with the guys that you brought in, the impact they've been able to have this first season, and how much do you think that'll kind of inform where you guys go in the future with your decision making in that regard?
Yeah, we have got really good results from these guys. These guys have all factored in and done something to help us win, and other than the fact we haven't been able to get Darryl out, all the rest of the guys have really fit in, and it hasn't been too big for any of them. They've been able to handle it. They've responded well. They've played well early, and they're growing now. And the guys are, experienced players for us and contributing. And so I think there's nothing to change us. I think moving forward from that, the care that we took in the individual guys and who they were in their makeup. I think it was really important for us, and I don't know why we would change. We really liked this class. If we could do it again, we'd be thrilled.
Greg?
I like the U-boat thing, Pete. I've never gotten that before. Thank you. Appreciate it. Chris Carson talked to us before the season about his contract. He wants to be in Seattle. He made it sound like he wanted to have one already. Where do you think his head is on that, and where the motivation might be now that he's coming back after the injury and a big chunk of his contract year he lost to injury?
I think Chris is really one of us, and he's fit into the program great. I think what he said, I think he obviously means, and but I do know, Chris has got to. He's got to look out for himself, and so he's got to see what the situation is. But we would love for him to be with us. He's been a terrific part of our team, and hopefully we can, we can keep that going. I mean, in my mind, I can't imagine anything else happening. But from the business side of it, he's got a chance to see what's going on, and so. Hopefully we'll be able to figure it out and keep him.
This is kind of high praise, but is he as close to the Marshawn Lynch persona at running back that you've had since Lynch was in his heyday?
Yeah. I think his style is so obvious. I just love the way he does it, and I mean, there's only one Marshawn. Marshawn's one of a kind, and he was an extraordinary everything in player and mentality and everything that he was about. One of a kind. But as far as hitting the line of scrimmage and letting guys know, who you're playing against, and leaving the message behind when he hits you, and the creativity, his hand-eye coordination, beautiful catching ability, all that kind of stuff. I think he's he's what we're looking for, you know, and that's why Carlos was such an important get for us too, because Carlos is very similar in that regard. Both those guys really bring it, and we love that style of play, and it adds to us and gives us the approach that we can play off of.
Okay, thank you.
See you.
Bobby Wagner is here.